me, this team accomplished more almost than any team. No disrespect to any other teams that we had or any championship teams, but this team won 11 SEC games. No other team has done that. They won the SEC and went undefeated in the SEC. And then they beat two great teams in the playoffs with no break in between. This is our fifth game in a row, from LSU to Arkansas to Florida to Notre Dame to here. And played 13 games and went undefeated with all the disruption that we had in this season. I think there's quite a bit to write about when it comes to the legacy of a team.
There's Nick Saban, and yes, that man just won his 7th national championship, and his demeanor was, I would describe it as slightly perturbed, Chris. That's as happy
on to 8
as you're ever going to see.
Right.
Nick Saban, we're on to number 8, and let's go, and let's not spend a lot of time. Look, it takes that level of torment to achieve that level of success. You can never pause. You can never be content. You can never be satisfied. You have to constantly be striving for more. The struggle, the pursuit is where the satisfaction lies, and it's on to the next one. And it's warped and it's twisted and it's not healthy, but he's won 7 national championships because of it.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. I mean, if not the greatest college coach of all time. But, I mean, he's in the conversation for just great coach, any sport, whatever it is. Part of the Bill Belichick tree, sometimes that kind of goes unnoticed, right? But they have the same demeanor, and that same approach where it's like, okay, yeah, we won the Super Bowl, we won the national championship, it's great, well, have a beer and enjoy it, but, the next day it's going to be on to the next season, let's go. But what they've done, what he's done personally is unreal. The fact that they have won, 6 national titles since 2009, the fact that, they've been in a number of other national title games or the Final Four games and lost to some freaky Clemson teams who were stacked and everything like that. I mean, I don't know. There's definitely hasn't been a run like this. I guess the Alabama teams of the 60s and 70s, maybe the only team in your lifetime that you could say had a run like this, especially in college football.
Yeah, but there was nothing like this even then. There was a handful of great teams,
right,
but it always kind of worked its way out, and it would be somebody different every year. There was never this year in and year out, can they please stop it type of dominance. And I think back to December of 2006 and Nick Saban's notorious, I'm not going to be the Alabama coach when he was the Dolphins coach. He was the second choice after West Virginia's Rich Rodriguez. Rich Rodriguez said no thank you to Mal Moore, the athletic director at the time, the University of Alabama, before they made the push for Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And Saban, before we anoint him as the greatest coach of all time, we have to peel back this notion that it's the recruiting ability in college. It's that power to go out and get yourself 10 first-round picks every year, not one, that sets him apart. And look, whatever it takes, that's the rules. That's where I have my skill set. That's where I'm going to excel. I'm going to get these guys to come to Alabama and cluster there, and we're going to have a great team. And the X's and O's really don't mean all that much when my talent is so much superior to your talent. Okay, fine. He pulled it off. He cracked that code, but the code he couldn't crack, and the code he didn't even want to try to crack beyond 2 seasons, was the NFL code, where the talent is flat and where the coaching is more important, and you can't be content for a minute or two while you move on to the next championship at the NFL level. The best that we've ever seen there is 1 out of 3 over a 20-year period, which I don't think Nick Saban would even be satisfied with if he could have even gotten to Bill Belichick's heights. So there's still that defect in the Nick Saban coaching legacy. It's that spot on the hood of the car that he was washing as a kid at his dad's service station, and his dad would point out to him, good job, but there's still a spot on the hood of your car. The spot on the hood of Nick Saban's resume is he failed at the NFL level, and we can't forget that no matter how many national championships he wins.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, Bill Belichick failed in Cleveland, and with that experiment, it wasn't perfect for him. His his skill set, the way
But he didn't
coaches.
run. He didn't run to the Naval Academy.
Okay.
He didn't run to the Naval Academy for 20 years and never come back.
Well, Nick Saban had already been in the college. It's kind of where he had kind of set his place in the college football coaching world. And I think probably, at some point, okay, right, he wasn't perfect for the NFL. I think we could take Bill Belichick to college, and I might go, I don't know.
Perfect. He was 8-8.
Okay, that's not horrible. I mean, well, I don't know. He didn't stay long. He went back and dominated college football like we've never seen before. So let's just talk about that instead of nitpicking about something about 15 years ago.
No, it's not nitpicking.
Holy crap.
It's not nitpicking.
Jeez.
It's not nitpicking.
Yes,
You're the one that said the greatest coach of all time.
Yes, he is.
There isn't. No, he's the greatest recruiter of all time.
Mike, he's adapted better than anybody ever. You don't just win by recruiting.
You recruit different
players.
players.
Clemson and Ohio
Hey,
State have all these
offense.
NFL players, too. He beats them almost every year. The SEC is full of NFL players. That's all the NFL. He beats them every year. He adapts. He's continued to push the limits. He came from Mark Ingram, smash mouth football, Trent Richardson, and now you see them yesterday. They're the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going every which way and throwing balls and reverses and everything like that. He's a phenomenal X's and O's coach. Phenomenal. Stop it.
I would say maybe he's got some phenomenal X's and O's coaches working for him. His primary skill is recruiting. Look, hey, Chris, we are emissaries of the National Football League. And it's not like we have to, fake it. It's the highest level of competition.
I know.
It's the flattest talent differential in any level of football by far. There's hundreds of college football programs. There's maybe 2 that he has to worry about every year. Otherwise, they just show up and they can yell out their plays to the other teams, even in the SEC, and they ain't going to stop them because of the superior talent that he has recruited. And I'm not taking away from the fact that he has been the best recruiter we've ever seen, but let's not call him the best coach of all time because most of the work is done before the opening kickoff even happens.
Mike,
95%
the coaching
of the work is done.
It's all him. It's all him. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, he's running. He's changed as a play caller. It's all him. Everything he does, their coaching is through the roof good. I know it didn't work out in the NFL to what we thought it might or where he is as far as the pantheon of coaches and all of that. I still think if he hung in the NFL, hey, I'm one that would say he would have won a championship at some point. I'm not going to doubt the guy.
What do you base that on? What do you base that on? What did you see in 2 years at Miami that make you think that?
Well, the 9 championships that he has in college football, that's what I base it on, those 9.
Hey,
right.
How about this? How about the decision to trade a second-round pick for Dante Culpepper instead of sign Drew Brees? He still tries to blame on the doctors.
Okay.
Like the doctors would have told him no.
I wasn't
if he wanted to do that.
Are
it's
you
somebody
really
else's fault.
Gonna die on the hill of Nick Saban not a great coach today?
I am.
Mike,
no, that's not what you said.
Mike,
you said greatest coach of all time.
You
triggered me by saying greatest coach of all time.
Mike,
he's not the greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick is.
Okay, greatest college coach of all time, Mike. He's in the conversation there. That's great. And Bill Belichick failed in Cleveland too. All right, so what? I mean, yes, right? Okay, sorry, Mike. Sorry. Greatest college coach of all time. In the conversation with the greatest coaches in any sport ever, Nick Saban's involved in that. Nick Saban's in there, and he's towards the top of the conversation. So there. I don't know what else to say.
Look, I'll agree with you. College football, yes. But he had his chance in the NFL. He ran away after 2 years, and he made a horrible decision, one of the worst quarterback decisions of all time, when he picked Dante Culpepper and surrendered a second-round pick with a wrecked and destroyed knee over Drew Brees, who had a wrecked and destroyed shoulder. But what are we talking about with Drew Brees? First ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And Saban himself said a couple of years ago that he still would have been the Miami Dolphins coach, although I don't believe it, if they had signed Drew Brees. And I'm not buying the idea that it was anybody but Nick Saban that said no to Drew Brees and yes to Dante Culpepper.
Okay, fine. So he made it's one mistake.
It's amazing. Pretty big mistake. The contrast to me is stunning, and why can't we delve into that? incredible college coach, greatest college coach of all time, mediocre at best. You know, I mean,
I can't even judge him as an NFL coach. He wasn't there long enough to even judge it.
Right.
It's not. That's where we've seen Pete Carroll and Jimmy Johnson. Okay.
I understand. Here's my point. We talked not that long ago about how it's admirable for guys to be so grossly competitive about everything they do. And it occurred to me during that conversation, you know, when kids act that way, we discourage it. Right? When little Jimmy has to win at everything to the point where he's a little pain in the ass, we say that's an objectionable character trait. But we applaud it in grown men who have to crush everyone in everything they do. It's a weird contrast. And that came to mind for me because
you're crushing a guy that won a national championship and everything he's done? Is that why it came to mind? Because you're doing that right now?
No, it came to mind because little Nicky in Miami couldn't win the way he wanted to, so he took his ball and his bat and he ran back to college football.
That's
part of his legacy.
Bull crap
That's
comment.
Part. Okay.
Like he ran away from it, like he was
It's
scared.
a true comment.
But like
he did. He did.
You're acting like he was scared and like, oh no, I'm like so outmatched and everything. I played against Nick Saban twice those years. His defense was on the cutting edge of the NFL at the time already.
Should have stayed.
Okay, so they didn't win. Mike,
maybe
come back. He just likes college football
back.
better. He doesn't give a damn what you think. And you're wrong.
No.
He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Any sport. Not even close. It's not even a conversation.
Hey.
It's not a conversation,
I like football
Mike.
where the players get paid. I like football where the players aren't exploited.
That's
and
great.
abused.
We know you do. It doesn't change anything.
Harangued. They're still kids, and look at how they get treated. They get no money. They get yelled at by their coaches like Saban. I mean, it's one thing for Saban to yell at an NFL guy. You're yelling and screaming at these kids who aren't being paid. So that's a different debate for a different
because
day.
You've changed it off the topic of him not being the greatest. You're changing the topic. He's the greatest, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Just say it. Just say it. That's all there is to it.
He's the greatest college football coach of all time. At the NFL level, he doesn't even get a D.
Great.
He gets an incomplete.
Great.
Because he ripped up the test.
His overall grade is a 99.9 as a coach, period. It doesn't matter. Right? Okay, he's got 2 years in Miami.
Hey, Chris, he's got an easy way for him to prove me wrong. Easy way. There's 7 openings right now in the NFL. Take one of them. Let's see what you can do, Nick.
Why?
Why
would you
do that? How many times are you going to climb the Sam Dame mountain over? Because you've beat Bear Bryant. You're the best college coach of all time. You're not going to get any better. There's no one else to pass.
Hey, Brady, you're the best of all time. Quit. NFL. Don't even play anymore. No. Why would he leave something where he's got to? He's going to continue to have the greatest legacy ever. Why? That makes no sense. You're arguing just to argue on a Tuesday morning. That's all you're doing.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This is what I believe, and I've believed it for a long time, and you drew it out in me today. You turd. It's your fault. You said so. The point is there are 7 openings right now in the NFL. If he wants to prove himself to be the greatest coach of all time in any sport, come back to the NFL. I'd like to see him back in the NFL. As salty and as prickly as he is, I like that. I like the
he's just like you. He's salty and prickly,
brings.
just like you. Shocker. You guys are from West Virginia. I mean, I'm really surprised. I'm shocked.
He grew up 20 minutes away from me.
Damn, it must be in the water.
I'm not going to fawn. I'm not going to fawn all over the guy. I mean, there is a defect in his resume, and it's his 2 years at Miami.
Okay.
And that's not going anywhere. He can win 10 more national championships, and that's not going anywhere. That's all I'm saying.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.